Hello, good morning. So getting started on my day. I'm gonna be doing a book reveal right now of half of my poetry book that's coming out, titled Climax Impassable. Should be available on Amazon and probably a few more places. I'm gonna look into everything. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted with that. And I'm gonna be giving away, before it comes out, I'm gonna be giving away the first half, and I'm gonna hope that that's gonna inspire you to be supportive be a patron of the arts and support the arts and fund me or buy my book or whatever. That would be cool. And I know that last time that I published last time I wrote my last two books, one of them was never published. It was held hostage and never published. And the other one was published and then was taken down very quickly. And then because there weren't enough sales to know one way or the other, the results were still out on the general view, and then there were rumors that it was bad and that it was poorly edited. It's actually the majority, though some of the titles are different, the majority of the work is, I'll put the link below. It's on my website that's been up for, the website's been up for like 6 years. And yeah, most of the work's on there. So it couldn't have been worse than the rough draft. And then I also read it to you guys on YouTube, so the words are the same. So there's not a lot of editing going on. I mean, more formatting. The person that helped me did formatting, which was nice at the time until it wasn't. So, okay. I'm going to do a book reveal. I'm going to read the first half of the poem, and then I'm going to end it, and you're not going to know the second half. That one's for purchase. So it's just going to be, there's different things. There's scenes, poems, there's a past life comparison, there's kind of a poetic narrative, and you'll see just different things. I'm going to go through the entire book. It is 31 pages, but it's really half, so it's like 16 pages. That this whole read should be about 20 minutes, something like that. And I'm not like the performance kids at the tannery. I don't really read my pieces like epically, but I will read it with intonation so that you don't fall asleep. This book is, again, the theme is frustrated, repressed, limited, refuted, rejected love, and the frustrations of waiting is a big theme. Other themes like what is your soul, and what actions please God, and when are we listening to flow in ourself, and when are we defying that out of fear? That's another big one. And what is attachment, and is romantic love or attachment, is this form even real, or is it just an attachment? So this is that, and the title is Climax Impassable. I'll let you know more as I know more about where and when it's going to be published. Hopefully soon. So I'm going to start the read, and it's about 20 minutes. Whoops, 20 minutes. Just had it open. Like, seriously? Why is everything so difficult today? Okay. So here we go. Good morning, by the way. So again, I'm going to be reading the first half of each each passage, and then the second half is for sale. So, book reveal, Climax Impassable. Here we go. Work 1. Oh, and bear with me, my voice is not up to par. The art of waiting. The sun scuffles from clouded views on high, across and across and across. The decimals of human behavior lays vastly below. The tiny happenings of scattered children around the globe. Trees bend in the sweeping of winds and passing of tides, and I'm still waiting for what's mine. I don't own a thing, but I remember how your hand felt when it grabbed mine. I remember the ink that stained its indiscretion. I didn't care, and I still don't. The desire for old tithes, the differences between folk who watch and those who are watched. Known is an embellished expression. The molecular breakdown of quantum pit stops on paths and timelines we haven't traveled. So that's the first half of that poem called The Art of Waiting. Timing is timing. This is another poem. You are wrong, my dear. The timing is now. The pulse between our hands, the thickening of increments passing. The time is always now. Cannot help but be right because it's happening. It's only us who denies its crossing, or ours. Our hands pull on the clicks and ticks, pushing forward, heaving backwards, our mischief attempting to make the broken whole again. Our will is not all there is. It's an option that certainly leaves God laughing. Angels don't think it's so funny to watch the way that we make suffer over what we cannot trust, the way we bend metal lines against their will to better manipulate a story because it's easier that way. It's about half. Okay. Too much. This is a scene. This is a scene that I wrote when I was pissed off. You can tell. Again, this whole thing is a 2-week span of time. So I wrote all of this in 2 weeks. It's all too much, she said, not looking her in the eye. He had felt his power reign at her confessions of love that had carried through the years, finally, and felt a boost of confidence from them. All the rejection and the tables had turned. Maybe it's all too much. It's like being in prison. You remember the people before you went in, when your life was free? You remember that freedom, and you want to drink it like nectar from a fruit, just to have something sweet and yours. But when you haven't had it in years, you want to eat until you can't anymore. Indulge until it hurts. Maybe it's all just too much, or maybe it's just making up for lost time. Well, that all still makes sense. The unholy joke of a prodigal son. Pardon me. Maybe your pride is but a shroud that you wear in the cutting heat of the serpent's sun. You use such anger and vengeance to justify your actions, running the tapes on a script to feel on point. Your destination becomes a paper town yet to be drawn. Fade from me. I don't need you. Your weakness is mocking your own existence when what you thought was a metal crown was actually just a halo of thorns. You're not God's martyr, just a soul that burns. Stroking your arrogance to mask the hand that once did the same. I know you. Slur and stumble and stroke it through. If no longer physical, it's all mental masturbation. You're so much more than the truth. You are an in-debt dime heaven never spent. The coaxing of your will that you declare God sent. We'll end that one there. Empty harvest. Oh, sweet nothing, are you but my enemy? Has love gone so far in one polar direction that it circumnavigated your screeching emotions, colliding into infamy? The circle pins to a closing in timing with the closing of your pulmonary pulsing. Is it easier to live this way? To live a lie? Pardon me. Do you really think so? Does the water in you flow freely, or are you destitute in apathy? Angels are overrated. That's the half of that one. Angels are overrated. The angel was a waste of his time. The angel was a waste of his time. How much self-righteous anger to make you feel more divine. He put her in her place to be polite, quiet, patient, and wait. To look the other way every time he said it was said nothing and called it fate. Every time he congratulated his wisdom on not making a move. Every time he told her he was not in the mood. And she waited and waited and waited, and in the process was humiliated. The build-ups and the letdowns about how he never came into town. Ended there. Reverb. Another poem. If I look upon you for a reverb, would you keep the thought of me near? To remind me that I'm alive with the cross-hatching of sonar that bulldozes from you and chisels the notches of my spine. If I tell you that you are infinite, would you see only the infinite divide? If I stomped in the pools of your self-reflection, would the liquid dissolve my feet? You're inescapable, for whatever that means. You are indescribable. Perhaps I've wasted the best words on things less worthy. Cellophane. There is a scratching in my core, a nestling, a tremendous roar. Watch the reverberation shake the vines. See that breathing in your backwaters? That's mine. Hold your breath to swim into your caves, hoping that the water breaks with hope still in sight. What if you're nothing at all? A whipped whisper of clouded atoms splitting themselves in the infallible void, when your excuses make up the best of you. Cellophane statements only mache on top of unrealized imagination, anchored to a crossing wind, passing intersections we both lost directions to. Poem to a flower from a long-lost lover. Do not crumple, small flower, under the wind that wrinkles you so. Do not wither under the blinding sunlight. Do not scream into the breaking of the clouds for comfort. Find your way to be all right, to rise from the dirt others fear. I help you come out filthy and sullied. You're not alone, but you're always on your own. If I told you tomorrow that I'd be a different person, that the changing of the light would change my expression and my mind entirely, could you possibly shoulder the weight of me? Your petals, as soft as they are velvet iron, little one. I know I cannot carry their weight for long. They jab my hand on a metallic rampage. We'll just end it there, I guess. If. This is short. So, if you don't care, why do you write about how I'm wrong? If I don't move your core, then why do you shut the door so strong? If you can't pronounce my name, why do you hesitate before you declare that I'm the one to blame? If I'm the mistake that dimmed the dawn, then why do you feel me when you play that hidden song? We'll leave it there. Railroad antics. What time is the next train? I'd hate to miss the getting the fuck out of here again. I don't care where it rides, only that a part of me sufficiently dies. Breathe the air. Drag it under the carriage. I want to see the sparks. I hope they combust the engine while I'm on board. Then maybe I'd stop being so bored of life and the same old people, how everything is set to disappoint, how rage and sorrow are just equal free riders with no destination, how this trip has cost me what I can't afford, how I'm indebted to nothing and nowhere. Vain insane. The vanity of your insanity looks like heaven and hell to me. I'd pat your back, but the string that holds your halo might break, or maybe that'd be your spine under your last mistake. There's temptation in your undertow. I'd tumble like kelp in your wave just to pass the time, because I have nothing better to do, because you're a swimmer that I can't save. Let's practice the buoyancy of the lies we tell ourselves to get through the day. Hold me down so you can place your chin over. Hold your head high and call it splendor. The loser in you and loser in me. Let's call it a win simply because we can. Let's pretend there's a part of something we can still officially understand. And we'll end that there. Crumpled mess and discarded poetry. If you're worthless, then why do you inspire so much poetry? Crumpled paper like snowballs that I've yet to hurl at the right player. I wish I could hurl you away just as easily. If I'm worthless and the image never haunts you, then my image never haunts you in the distant breeze. That's good. Must put your heart at ease. Maybe I was a gift that you had to watch another unwrap, and your mind inverted into an unnatural state, concave, then convex, until you were tied up in such a bind that you had nothing but a fragile state of mind. We'll leave it there. So right that you're wrong again. You're right. Alright? And if you're right, then I assume that you laughed heartily into the very night. You then went to bed at ease, your mind completely free of illusion and disease. You marched proudly, never looking back, so correct that you can't even pronounce the word regret. Because you're right, right? That's why you feel so right. So right you don't even have to talk about it. So right that the ink is still safely in your pen. So right that you can't wait to step into the sunshine again. I'll end it there. Ode to the dead drunk king, may he rest in peace. This is a convergence of two lives. There's the modern and then it steps into the old. About halfway is when it goes from one to the other, so at the modern I'll cut it off. I promise to keep my word and do my best, he said, holding his middle finger against the other side of the telephone. Stupid bitch always believes what she wants, he thought, with a stroke of self-confidence. He didn't love her. No. That was an act of genuine bravery that had left him years past, but he told her that he did. Sometimes at night he'd pretend that he did, when she wasn't there. So many people to get lost in, so many crowds for a nomad to wander. It wasn't because she wasn't worth it. Oh, he knew what she was worth to the earth, to the kids, to time. It's that life was simpler without her. She came with a box of darkness he didn't want to hold, as if he didn't. She knew it was too heavy for his atrophied arms to lift for too long. On her darkest nights, she always pictured that a simple life was possible, and that he would be there. On her lightest times, she thought of all that she could share with him to make sure he was always fed and had enough. She knew who she was. Worldview aside, she was the girl they used to fight for, the one they loved so quickly. Never in her wildest dreams did she think that having love find her would be this hard. This can't be reality. And it wasn't. She knew who she was. She was worth it. All of it. The box of darkness now, too. And she had been so buried in other people's greed and lies. It had been so hard for him to see more than the fear that he wasn't willing to face for her. This is short, so. Escalate, ruminate. When the direction is the same, escalated or ruminated despite insipid undertone. The river flowed on a crash course in chiseling cliffs and craggy edges. Revolutionary blues, also short. Lonely is the beating of a revolutionary's heart, the anthem of silent oppression, the hope of tomorrow's victory, shrouded by steps backwards, the sneer of the enemy's front tooth. Here's a scene. I don't know you, she said, tucking her hair behind her ear while looking down at a wrapper, a trivial nothing, in her hand. I don't know you, she repeated, but I feel like I do, or maybe more than I do. I know we have just met, but do you think it's possible that we didn't? I would have remembered a face like yours, he smiled flirtatiously. A small smirk tiptoed in across her face, then quickly fluttered away. No, that's not. She let out a small sigh of exasperation. He tried to fill in the sentence, sensing her slight vexation. Like from when, then? I don't know, just... She trailed off, looking around the room self-consciously, as if the restaurant table discussing menstrual cramps, not wanting the audience to hear it. They were alone. Before what? He said. He asked. Now. Before now, I know it sounds stupid, so just forget it. Her eyes flickered with irritation off the wrapper and on to anywhere but him. Like before this life? He asked. Yes, she interjected. There was a hesitation in the air, like the molecules became heavy with too much contemplation. I remember you, Sophie, even without this beautiful face. Pumpkin, and this is the last poem. Pumpkin. They reject you more than they love or respect you. As you watch them pack in Tempest jest and 2 side bags of BS, as you start unpacking your silent discretions, I'm leaving you in the morning, you tell yourself, to a pillow that only reminds me that I've forgotten how you smell, notes I can't remember, written to the fragrance of symphony, and all that you won't ponder. Your yarn becomes fighting tape, for your bruised knuckles, wrapped in all that you didn't say, wrapped in clumsy cadence and chaotic cacophony. A wise man once said, "Shut the fuck up," to everything that needed to be said, then called his maneuver intelligent, and lost all his wisdom, back to square one. Let's have some fun. Time will tell what shoe you left, your coarse tendrils growing to the stroke of midnight. Okay, so this has been a book reveal on Climax Impassable. Available, it will be most likely on Amazon, but maybe I'm going to look into everything, a few more places. I'll keep you posted on it. There is, I'm still working on the cover, a quick watercolor that I did. You'll see the cover is going to be like it's a tattoo, and it's a rose skull. Okay, you can look for that, and I'll keep you posted. Thank you for listening.